In this video, we're going to see a system called Woodstein that we've developed at the MIT Media Lab. Woodstein is a software agent for helping consumers manage their e-commerce transactions. It runs on a user's computer and works with a web browser to both track and explain transactions. So when a user sees one that's gone wrong, or is just different from what he or she expects, Woodstein can show its history and current status. Let's take a look at an example. Suppose I'm looking at my online credit card statement. I don't remember using this card last month, so I'm a little surprised to see this charge. Looking at the merchant, it looks like Amazon.com, but it isn't quite. And the charge itself, for about $250, is high enough that it's worth it for me to figure out what happened here. I can see that the bank's page itself provides more information. But it's pretty technical and not exactly what I was hoping to see. I'd like to find out what happened here. Is this a charge for a product or a service? If I ordered a product, why haven't I received it yet? To answer these questions with current technology, I'd have to go to the Amazon.com website, try to log in, maybe retrieve my password and so on, and do all the detective work myself to figure out what's going on. With help from Woodstein, I can find out about the transaction more directly and easily. It's important to give a disclaimer, though, and note that what we're about to see is a vision of how consumers could one day manage their transactions online, and that some of the web pages involved in the transaction that we're about to see are simulated. Returning to this charge, because Woodstein is working with my web browser, it saw me originally initiate the transaction. So when I'm looking at a page like this one with information about it, Woodstein analyzes it and adds a button allowing me to inspect the transaction. To find out more, I click the button, and Woodstein converts all of the transaction data in the page that it recognized into buttons. So we can see that it recognized the merchant and the amount, and then also the reference number, which acts as a kind of identifier for the transaction. I can click on any of these buttons to find out more, but right now I'd like to see what happened with the transaction overall. Or in other words, why was this transaction created? And pressing down on the button opens up a menu, allowing me to ask exactly that. And the answer I'd like to get would be a kind of history of the transaction, showing the steps involved and the result of each step. And selecting this menu item opens a window with just that information, because it has models of how transactions proceed. And because it's been tracking this particular transaction, Woodstein's able to explain it by showing actions on the left and the results of those actions on the right, beginning with me placing the order at Amazon.com, and then the merchant requesting payment from my bank, Bank of America, and finally the shipper, UPS, delivering the order. So from this view, I can see that the charge is for some kind of product, but I still have two questions. What was it that I ordered, and why haven't I received it yet? To answer the first question, I go back to the result of placing the order confirmation. Clicking on the button for that loads the order confirmation page that summarizes the order. While I was placing the order, Woodstein was watching in the background and saved this page, just in case I'd want to refer back to it, like I do now. And looking at this saved page, I can see it's got the same charge and the correct address, and it also has the product I ordered. Oh yeah, that's what I ordered. Over the summer I got really excited about a video game, and I pre-ordered it, and it wasn't until they finally shipped it that they charged my credit card. So that answers the question of what it was exactly that I ordered. But it still leaves me wanting to know why I haven't received it yet. Woodstein also helps answer that by tracking pages related to my order that are still currently on the web. So when I want to see the current shipment status, I can by clicking on the corresponding button to retrieve the current tracking page at the shipper's website. And I can see, okay, all this information looks correct. Though here, this last thing looks curious. I wonder if it's the extra value shipping that's causing the problem. I'd like to know where that choice was made and how that service was selected. And again, I can press down on the button to get a menu, allowing me to ask exactly that. How was this set? For this though, rather than wanting an explanation of the history of the transaction overall, I'd like the history of one piece of information in particular. I want a kind of audit trail for this selection to see where it came from. Selecting this menu item loads a new window showing that UPX set this as the shipment service, and I can find out where that came from. Again, Woodstein loads the relevant page I originally interacted with, and I can see that, okay, it looks like I chose the least expensive shipping option. That unfortunately doesn't give an estimate of when to expect the delivery. So maybe I'll just give this a little while longer to arrive. In this video, we've seen how, by working with my web browser to monitor a transaction made online, Woodstein can present a high-level view of it and answer questions about it by showing both saved and current pages about the transaction. Although the details of the transaction and the actual transaction pages themselves are simulated, Woodstein generates big-picture views of transactions, and it offers a vision of how consumers may one day have automated help managing and inquiring about the transactions online. You can find out more on the webpage for Woodstein.